say it's recording? Yes, the session is being recorded. Okay, thank you everybody for attending the Children's Dental Training Call. We appreciate you being on this call. I invited all of the call center because I figured it was easier for you all to get the training with everybody else, because I'm sure there will be some employees that will be calling in on the call center as well. First of all, let's see. Carrie, are you able to come online so you can share some information about the group to everybody before we start going through the enrollment guide?
Yes, thank you, Andrea. I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Your phone didn't show green, so I just wanted to be sure you were here. All right, so this is Carrie Grunbaum. He's the broker on the group, and he's the one that knows all the ins and outs. So, Carrie, if you could share about the group with us, please.
Okay, first of all, thank you guys for waking up early this morning. I'm the lucky one on the East Coast, so it's 9 o'clock here, not 6 in the morning. So a little bit about Children's Dental. Children's Dental is a company that was purchased by my uncle. So we'll start off right off the bat. My uncle is the owner of this company, the main owner of the company. He took it over. He used to run some other large facilities throughout California in the dental business, and recently bought this company. They are going through some changes as far as executive staff. You know, the main offices aren't changing too much, but the executive staff is changing. And, you know, I got the account, yes, because it's my uncle, but my uncle's a very tough businessman and likes things done in a very precise and accurate way. And, you know, I've worked with him for many years on other businesses that he has, and his ultimate goal is education, education, and education. It's all about not selling a product, but helping the employee understand what they're looking at, helping them make wise decisions. So whether the wise decision is electing health coverage or it's electing Medicaid or Medi-Cal, that would be fine. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter to me. And you know, so long as they're making the right decision with the products, if the accident policy is great for them, wonderful. If it's a life policy, that's great. If it's nothing because their budget doesn't permit an excessive amount of life insurance, then we shouldn't sit there and try to penetrate and try to just sell and sell and sell. We just, again, if we educate it, the groups get larger. I have a lot of business, and we're doing several open enrollments throughout the country. You know, and I've been working with Mike for the past 11 or 12 years. And Mike and I kind of speak the same language and understand what our goals are. Yes, we all want to make money, but making money is by, again, educating the consumer, the person that we're sitting across from. The HR staff at Children's Dental is also, it's extremely new. The person who's really running the show there has been there for 6 weeks. Has experience, but you know, this is a whole new industry, a whole new side of the business for him. He's never dealt with a one-on-one enrollment before. He's done group enrollments in the past, so he has a little familiarity with you know, various health plans. But you know, this is new to him, and he's really turning to me and to Mike to really guide him accordingly. And you know, basically I'm navigating the ship right now, and it's really important that this doesn't backfire on me. I do think this is a wonderful tool. The past experiences that I've had with Colonial and the enrollers have been great. Granted, there are situations sometimes that people just say things that they're unsure about. If you're unsure about anything, that's okay. Just tell them you'll get back to them and you're unsure. And throughout the open enrollment period, all of you will have my cell phone, you'll have my email, and probably email would be quicker than cell phone because sometimes I'm not available. If there's a question that comes up during open enrollment, call me. You know, I'm available almost 24/7, not exactly, but we'll call it 24/6. That I'm available for any calls. And I think that's about it. I mean, it's really, you know, you guys, I'm navigating, but you guys are controlling the direction we're going in. So again, I appreciate everyone's work here. Don't hesitate to ask questions. Don't hesitate to not know an answer. And let's, you know, do our best, the best we can to go out there and educate these folks.
Thank you, Carrie. And just a side note on Ken, the new HR director that Carrie was talking about that's been there for 6 weeks. When I was showing him the consumerism emails, he wanted, I had to send it back to them because the word mandatory for one-on-ones was not listed, and so that's why all the communication that are going to the employees is stating that this is mandatory for all of them to sit down one-on-one with a benefit counselor. So that's good news. Can everybody see the Children's Dental Group brochure or on my screen if you're on your computer?
Yes.
Okay, because it is saying that it's showing my screen. I had a text from Mike that it wasn't showing before, so wanted to be sure. Mike, did you want to share anything about the group before we get started?
Yeah, thanks. So Carrie's right on the money. We've worked together for about 12 years, and a lot of you worked on the very first group I had with Carrie, which was Western Dental. It was 231 locations in 3 states, and we've done business ever since then. As we speak, we're working on another 1,200 live case, and then another one that's 357, and another one that is 700 to 800. I'm thinking of Douglas Elliman. So Carrie has a new mode in his office, and that is to take that nice fat check that he's getting every month and maybe grow that bad boy. And that only happens by growing the business and the cases that we're doing. So thank you all for being on this case. I know just about everybody that's on here. So we've got the A team. Everybody who understands the way we operate and the way we function with the employees, and so I have no concerns. So Clarice, while I haven't worked with you, you're in good company that sets high standards. So I know that we can depend on you to. I'm not singling you out, but I'm trying to reinforce that. You know, we all have high standards. We know what makes the phone ring for future business, and we appreciate the opportunity that our brokers like Carrie bring us, and we'll go out and knock this out of the park. The next thing I wanted to tell you is, so this is the, it's a dental group again, and they're dental offices that are functioning. So you'll have to be, in some cases, politely creative in working with your specific offices to work within their operational constraints and sit with their employees while at the same time not causing them any kind of heartburn. This is a mandatory exercise. They all know that. It needs to be done. It will be done. But just this is one, it's like working in a hospital. You know, they've got patients and they have a schedule, and we are tertiary to the exercise, while at the same time our stuff has to be done as well. So just be polite and creative and kill them with kindness, as they say. So Andrea, I'm going to turn this back over to you. I'm sure I'll have a couple of things to throw in along the way, and it's all yours.
And you did have a meeting with Ken and managers, right? Because that.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. So there's the the preemptive work that we do. Anytime that we have, and you can kind of depend on this. Anytime there's a multiple location a company like Children's Dental. What we do in my office is we have HR and decision maker on a logistics call with the office managers, and it's not a benefits call. It is a logistics call about open enrollment. So they all know, and we reviewed the process, what we're doing, the benefits, why we're doing it, that it is a mandatory exercise, etc. So there's buy-in at all of the offices. I don't know of any offices that were absent, but I'm getting the sense about Ken Lozano, who is the plan administrator, that if someone was absent, that he would have backfilled and made sure that they know about what we're doing. We also provided the PowerPoint presentation for that facility manager's meeting to Ken, and he would have reviewed it with him. So I feel fairly certain that if anybody wasn't on the call, he would have made sure that everybody's on board. Andrea?
Yeah, I agree, because he's one of the first HR managers that have really wanted the word mandatory on everything. So that's nice to know. Now, first of all, I have the guide up, and like I told everybody, I will be sending out again as I add things to the guide from this training call. Like, I don't think I have Carrie's cell phone number and email in here, so I'll add Carrie's cell phone and email to the guide so that everybody has it, because like Carrie said, he's very hands-on, and if you are sitting with a benefit counselor and need an answer to something, you will be able to call him and get some answers. This group does have, it's like 3 separate dental companies that are under the umbrella of Children's Dental. So there are 3 BCNs. You have the Sierra Pacific BCN, you have the Scott Jacks BCN, and you have the J&G Dental BCN. So there are 3 different BCNs that you will see when it's time to submit the business. And since this is a Benetrack enrollment, I don't have control over the census. The company and Benetrack are putting it in, but I'm assuming that you will be able to see which company the employees work with and be able to get them submitted when you submit business under the correct BCN. If there is any difficulties on that, it is something that we can also clean up on the back end, because Ken would be able to delineate who belongs where, and we would get that information over to the billing specialist as needed. Right now we have 5, I need to add Yvonne's name on there too. We have 6 benefit counselors that are going to be going out on location, and then we have the backup of our call center team. And I will get everybody a call center team flyer, so that if the days that you're at locations, if there are employees that are, which invariably happens, there are employees that aren't on site the day we're there for one reason or the other, we will get them over to the call center so that the call center will be able to assist them in enrolling in all their benefits. Like I mentioned, this is a Benetrack enrollment, so you will enter the Benetrack portal, and through Benetrack will be the plug-in to go over to the Harmony sites when it's time. But first, when you go into Benetrack, you'll initially start with the core enrollment. I just was able to get, and I have it down in here. Let me see. Well, we'll get to that in a minute when I have some more information on Benetrack, and when we get to that section of the guide, I will go over that with you. Thanks, Carrie. I'll add that to the guide. Right now, I'll just briefly go over the plans that Carrie's going to help explain in more detail down in the core section. Medical insurance and all their plans are continuing plans, and so Carrie doesn't anticipate that there's going to be a lot of change. Most employees will most likely continue with the plans that they're currently on. There are 3 Anthem plans, and there are 2 Kaiser plans that they have available through medical insurance, and then the dental insurance is the HMO and the PPO dental through Anthem as well, and the vision is also through Anthem. They have a couple of benefits through Mutual of Omaha, long-term disability, and an employer-paid basic life. And of course, they have an employee assistance program as well. They are going to start offering FSAs through TASK, the healthcare and the dependent care FSA. And we are providing Colonial, one of our programs, the Info Armor, the identity theft program, will be provided free of charge this first year to all employees who sit with us. So those are what are considered our core offerings this year. We're crossing our fingers, especially Carrie and I, because Benetrack is working on the EDI feeds, and we were not going to have to do paper applications, but there is a possibility that there might be some Kaiser applications that might have to be filled out for anybody who's adding Kaiser or making a change to Kaiser. But since the EDI feeds aren't needed until at the end of the enrollment, we're hoping that that we won't have to do that. We will know by Friday, because I'll be having a conference call with the Benetrack representative to make sure everything is all up to speed. But you've been provided the information just in case. Let's see, and so per usual, if we do end up having to do any core applications, make sure that the employees have everything filled in that needs to be filled in. Ken is making sure that every employee is receiving our reminder notice that they're supposed to come to their enrollment with their Social Security number, their spouse and children's Social Security numbers and date of birth, any doctor or provider numbers that they're currently using. So, and since Ken is so very gung-ho about making sure employees have information, we are pretty sure that and this is not the first time that they're working with Benetrack. This should go smoothly. Everybody should come with their information. All right, so here we go. For Benetrack, we were able to find out exactly so that you have the information in case the employees don't have it. I put here in the guide the Benetrack account ID, and I put what the employee username is, which will be the first 6 characters of their last name plus the last 4 of their social, and their password is the last 4 of their social. This is pretty familiar because this is usually our standard login and use in for Harmony. Charlie, the Benetrack representative, created a test employee for me. It is supposed to be ready today, and so you have the name of the employee, the username here, and the password here. I would go to the Benetrack location and play with this test employee so that you're familiar with the screens in Benetrack before you get to your enrollment. And I have the URL for Benetrack. The specific site for Children's Dental is also in the guide, so you will find that as well, so we'll make it easy for you to do that. I haven't had a chance, since Charlie said this test employee is ready today, I haven't had a chance to check it out yet either. So if anybody, if you get to it before I do and something doesn't go smoothly, let me know right away so I can get in contact with the Benetrack representatives and let them know where there might be an issue so that we can have it solved before the enrollment begins next week. Let's see. All the rates, of course, are going to show in Benetrack, not in Harmony. Since this is a Benetrack enrollment, you won't have election forms from Harmony, but I know in Benetrack there is also a spot at the end of the enrollment where you can print an election sheet for them as well so they can see their choices. So you will be able to still do that for them. And let's see, I think I've sent you, but also I will send to everybody again the pre-enrollment flyer, and Ken is making sure all the employees have our one-page flyer. Be sure to make copies of that when you go to your locations. And like Mike was saying, we have to work with the location. Some locations you'll be able to do a group meeting. Some locations you will not. You will just have to start with the one-on-one meetings, and you will be able to work that out when you're calling your location managers. We have connected with most of the managers. I know there's a couple that we're still waiting to hear back from. If you still are having difficulty getting to your location manager, let me know, because Ken is very good about telling the location managers that they need to call you and set up their enrollment date. Ken wants this to go smoothly as well. Here we go. I have it down here in this section for you. I should probably put all of the Benetrack together. here's the name of the Benetrack representative and her phone number. So if you're in Benetrack at the enrollment and you're having difficulty, unfortunately, I can't help you because anything that's Benetrack, we have to go to Benetrack. So I have her email here and her phone number, and then here is the URL to get to that site. It'll open up to the Children's Dental Benetrack site where the employees will need to log in. We did put consumerism in place for this group, and the very first email went out on Monday to the employees, and so they have the email spaced throughout the enrollment. And of course, on this, the employees were instructed on this in very first email that they had to go to a mandatory one-on-one meeting with the Colonial Benefits Counselor that would go over all of their health benefits as well as the Colonial products that were being put in place to help fill in gaps. And they were instructed to go to their location manager to find out the date and time of their enrollment, which is why it was important for us to start calling the managers on Monday to set up the day and time. In our the employee flyer, as well as in these consumerisms, the employees will have the link to Uville. So I would suggest that all of you go to the Uville site. The site is open, but they're still in the process of putting all of the documents in the resource center on the Uville site. The Spanish document, summaries of benefits coverage, as well as the English. So they told me it should be complete by Friday. So they're in the process of putting all of the documents on. So when you're at the location, have the Uville site open so that you can show the benefit counsel, all the employees when you're sitting with them, that this site is now available for them, where they can always go to see the, all their summary of benefits and plan summaries if they forget what's available. Let's see. I think I'm going to skip down to the core part first. I want to go over the core plans first, and so we will open up the benefit booklet. And Carrie, let me scroll down until I'm going to have to minimize this so I can get to my button. So there are two benefit booklets. One benefit booklet is labeled dentist, and one benefit booklet is labeled staff. And I think the only difference is the rates that are in there. Is that the difference between the two of them, Carrie?
That's correct. The dentists pay 100% for any plan they elect, where all other employees besides dentists pay whatever the contribution rates are. It's subsidized.
Hey, Carrie, this is Rod Shepard. Hey, did the rates change this year? If so, what was the percentage change? And as far as the contribution towards the employees, spouses, and dependents, did that change, or is everything the same?
It's not the same. The rates did increase, and what I could do is Andrea, I could shoot you a quick email, and you could open it up on your screen if you want, that shows the difference of the the price difference. So let me just, I'll pull that up. It went up. I don't. Let me just double check the exact amount it went up. Andrea, if you want to continue talking, I'm just going to look for it for a minute.
Okay. All righty. So, well, it'll pop up when Carrie sends that, so I'll know to go to my email. So here you can see that for open enrollment that they have 30 days to enroll when they're eligible. They're eligible the first of the month following 60 days of hire. This is their open enrollment period. All enrollments, all of their benefits are going to be effective October 1st. Enrollment goes through the 2nd. They want to have time for everybody to receive all the cards. They want to have time to get all the, hopefully the EDI feeds from Benetrack will be able to go at that time to the different carriers. So we're crossing our fingers on that. So everybody cross your fingers, because we want this Benetrack enrollment to go smoothly here. they've been told in their benefit booklet, you can see here what information that they're supposed to bring to the enrollment. They have our reminder flyer, that information that they need to bring to the enrollment. So they've been receiving multiple venues of information here, so that that is telling them the same thing. So hopefully they will all, here, the first pages of the guide go over, what is considered a dependent and everything. Okay, so let me open this up real quick. Okay, here we go, Carrie. You there, Carrie?
Sorry, I had it on mute for a second. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Okay,
right,
so the reason the top part is blank over here on the left, the PP, and we'll get to this when we go through the benefits, the PPO plan is not in existence today. That's going to be a brand new plan that's being offered to everybody at Children's Dental. But my gut, don't waste your time on it. The plan is a fortune. It's $900 a month. It's really, the only reason we're really offering it is for, a couple executives that showed interest in having a PPO option. If someone wants to pay their way, they could pay their way. So the reason on 215 it didn't exist. So if you scroll to the right, let me move this over. So this plan, so this one's actually not a good scenario of what the rates are going up to, because this one obviously is a fortune. Where it says EE premium, that's obviously the employee premium, and the ER premium is what the employer is paying. So in this case, on this plan, and again, I don't want to spend too much time on it, the employee would be paying $675 a month. If you look to the right, and you guys could, I could send this in an Excel format, it'll show what the annual premium is for the employee, and they're biweekly. Again, they're biweekly, which means there's 26 payments, not 24 payments. Over 26 payments, this would be their biweekly cost for this plan. But to answer your question, Andrea, if you could scroll down, this actually works out well because we see everything. You don't need go to the right again. Okay. A little bit.
Oh, this is
the number that everyone sees on the screen that says 196.73. That's the current contribution today on the Anthem core, the buy-up plan. That's the expensive plan. So that rate of 196 is going up to 216. So if you go to your right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, where Andrea's going over it, it's 216. That's their increase. The nice thing about this year is the 216, 465, and 785, and that's the monthly rate. It's annualized, and that's the biweekly to the right of it, the 99.69. Kaiser and Anthem's contributions are identical. So, no employee should say, oh, it's cheaper to go on the Anthem, it's cheaper to go on Kaiser, this is why I want it because I save money. The rates are exactly the same of 216, and they should not see, you guys are seeing all the information here of what the employer is contributing and all the other fun details that go on the backside. All they need to see, and I could change the spreadsheet, is current 2015 contributions versus 2016 contributions, and then I could show the annualized and the monthly contribution on it. So on the core plan, they were paying $111. It's going up $10 to $121, which is $55 a paycheck per month. And then obviously it's a 3-tier plan. So we have a single rate, a couple rate. A couple could be employee and 1 child, or it could be partners, whatever it is, 2 people. And family is family, anything more than 2 people. That would be the rate. So the increase is, pretty, positive. Yes, there's an increase, but it's not terrible. And again, if you look to the right, these rates are exactly the same. The 216, the 121, it's going up a little more, but so was Kaiser's increase. And another, which one is this? Oh, that's the same. It's the same thing, I think.
These are the Kaiser ones right here.
Oh, okay. These are the Kaiser. If you look to the left, yeah. Also, that's all the way to the left of the screen. You'll see how many people are enrolled in which plan. So there's about 130 employees enrolled right now in the plans, and you know, you could, if they ask you, hey, I'm on the single plan, again, I'm going to condense this. So it's going to show how many people are enrolled in what plan, what their current contribution is, their new contribution on a biweekly basis. And then you'll have that cheat sheet in front of you.
Yeah, it looks like most people are on the classic HMO plan, some on the value HMO plan, a big chunk on the traditional HMO Kaiser plan, and a few on the value Kaiser plan. Yeah.
Right.
Carrie. Hey, Carrie, this is Mike. Why don't we address now the low participation in medical and your desire to have us help increase that participation in the medical plans?
Right. Okay. So right now, the issue, you know, typically when you deal with any companies that there's a vast majority making $10 an hour or $12 an hour, you find low participation because some of them are eligible for Medi-Cal and some of them are scared to, you know, just don't understand what they're purchasing. They don't have the money to purchase it. There's a couple things that are really important here because there are about, 350 to 400 employees that are employed there. Something like that, 350 to 400, including the dentist employed there. First of all, it's important that the employee understands if they walk around with no coverage this year and in this past year also, they will be fined. There will be an individual tax penalty that they will receive. I have to double check what the amount is for 2016. I don't think it's that low. I think it went up a lot from 2015 to 2016. I think a lot of employees, 325 or 1.5% of your income.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll check while we're doing this.
Yeah, check that and check what it's going up to 2017 because I think it's going up to 695.
Mm-hmm.
So check that because, you know, people are going to be like, there's no tax penalty. Correct. No one has seen it yet. But now I could tell you I'm getting a lot of my groups that have low-income workers who don't have insurance, who are going to the health insurance exchange, securing coverage with a subsidy, and really they're not eligible. They're telling the wrong answers to the exchange, and the exchange is giving them the insurance, and this is why there's these 1094 and 1095s, these forms that employers have to complete on the large group, because they're telling the exchange, yes, we offer affordable coverage, and no, we don't offer affordable coverage. And recently, I would say in the last 2 months, employers are receiving a ton of letters saying, John Smith went to the exchange and got a subsidy because you don't offer insurance, affordable insurance, or you're charging him too much, or the plan is not in compliance. And there's a 90-day appeal period that the employer has to respond to them to say, yes, we do, and this is what we offer. So number one, all the plans we offer are affordable plans. They meet all requirements, both contribution-wise, and I use the word affordable in a legal term. Obviously, they're not affordable. No one can afford these plans in general and to have high deductibles. But according to, quote-unquote, healthcare reform, Obamacare, we meet all requirements of contributions, and we meet plan requirements that are needed. And the employee has to understand this is what's out there. These are the plans that are available. If they don't elect it, we want to make sure there are waivers signed. We want them to understand this meets all legal requirements, and help them understand there will be a fine. And sometimes it's worth the fine. If the person thinks they're going to be invincible, they're not going to have insurance, but they're a 24-year-old, female or male that feel like, hey, I don't get sick. I don't want to spend $2,500 a year. I'd rather have a fine of $400 a year. So be it. So long as we cover our tracks. So again, on one side, I would love more participation. On the other side, I want to make sure that the employer is protected and the employee understands when they go to exchange. And again, for those of you who are unclear of this rule, any employer over 50 lives that offers affordable coverage and meets the plan requirements, that person, regardless of their income, is not eligible for a subsidy on the health insurance exchange. It doesn't matter what state they're in. They are eligible for Medicaid if they fill up, or Medi-Cal if they fit under the Medi-Cal you know, under $16,000 a year for a single, $33,000 for a family of 4. So there would be no fine for that. But as far as getting a plan exchange, not Medi-Cal plan, at a subsidy, it doesn't make a difference if they have money or they don't have money to afford it or not. They're not eligible for it. So they can lie through their teeth. They can tell the exchange whatever they want. It will come back and they will be fined. And they'll also recoup the premiums. So if they received a subsidy and it went into place right away and it took a year to figure out that this person wasn't being honest, they're going to go back and they'll deduct the full gross premium, which is going to be higher than our numbers, off their taxes.
Ooh,
So,
I didn't know about that last part.
yeah, it's not a, you know, you could run, but you can't hide. It will come back to haunt you. Again, this is all what they're telling us. Is it actually going to happen or not? We'll see. But there's going to be enough data for them to get that information, and that's really the main reason of these 1094, 1095, because the IRS has to know, did you offer affordable or did you not offer affordable coverage? And if you didn't, and someone comes to us, okay, we know to find you. And if someone didn't, then, you know, it's all going to come back. We just got to educate the consumer and say, hey, this is what's going on in the industry today. And the rates that we have for them that they're contributing, they're not finding a plan cheaper than $55 $110, $121 a month for this type of coverage. So
No, that's what I was going to say. $121, whether it's Kaiser or Anthem, they're not going to beat that. I mean, that's not a very expensive, you know, to cover themselves a month. And granted, it is more than what the, you know, the $400 penalty will be, but
they have coverage.
They have coverage, and it's better coverage than what they're going to find on the exchange. So yeah,
and the exchange keeps pulling. You know, more and more carriers are pulling off the exchange. It was in the paper today and yesterday. You know, Aetna is pulling out of 70% of the states they're in off the exchange. United Healthcare, Blue Crosses across the board, they're all pulling off the exchange. So, you know, people will be stuck.
True. I checked on the fine, and it's $695 for each adult and $347.50 for each child, up to $2,085 per family.
And what was there's also, it's like $695 or like 1.5% of their income? Or no?
2.5% of the tax filer's annual household income minus the federal tax filing threshold.
Okay. So even if it's $700 for a person who's earning $18,000 or $20,000 a year, or $25,000, it's a significant fine, and you have no coverage. So if they go to the doctor once, or they go to the emergency room once, they're out of luck.
Okay, and I'll put this tax penalty information in the guide so that you have it, because this is something that they want all the employees to be reminded of, that they're not eligible for a subsidy on the exchange because there are affordable plans that are available through the employer, and that the IRS is most likely going to start coming down. I mean, I remember last year I had to include that form that showed about medical insurance in my taxes, so I know everybody else is going to have to do that too. So it is becoming a reality. So you need to share that with the employees. All right, now we'll go back to the guide. And
Andrew, can we, what I would like to do, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before we depart this, so, you know, it's not often that we are asked pointedly to help increase the medical participation on a group. So I'd kind of like to open up the, you know, the questions and answers line here. And does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have another suggestion that might help employees better understand the process and what their options are? I want to but I don't want to leave this until we really vet it good.
This is Margot. Good morning. I really think that we can help increase it because we're really educating the employees. Most of employees who do not participate, it's only because they have no information or very little information.
Yeah, this is Rod. I agree with Margot. I find that as soon as you educate, and because I do this a lot, as soon as you educate them on the fact that they are not qualified to receive a subsidy, the participation will increase just because of the information given.
Yeah, so if we do a good job of communicating, explaining, just making it understood that this is your option, the enrollment should increase.
This is Liz. I think people want to say, well, I can get something on the marketplace because the amount for the employee, them, is affordable, but if they want to cover spouse and children, it's astronomical usually. They want to just go to the marketplace because they're frustrated about that.
Can you repeat that again? This is Carrie. I want to understand that again. Say that again. People want to go to the exchange because why?
Because they consider the amount for themselves, the employee, affordable, but then they really are insistent they've got to cover their spouse and or children, and that's cost prohibitive if they go on that plan. I tell them you've got to get your employer's plan, but your husband can go to the marketplace to cover him and the children. And they don't even like that, to hear that.
I don't know if that's accurate. I want to double check. It's possible that they're not, that the spouse is not allowed to go. They could go, anyone could go to the exchange, but as far as getting a subsidy, and I don't know this 100%, I got to check. If one person is employed and they're offered family coverage and there's some type of contribution towards it or couple coverage, I don't know if the spouse could go to the exchange.
No, they can't. No, they can go to the exchange, but they cannot.
They're not eligible for a subsidy. Right.
There you go.
And again, the difference is also that the employee needs to know. And again, it's not going to affect them if they're only making $25,000 a year. But the money that's being deducted through their employer is pre-tax dollars. On the exchange, it's post-tax. There is no pre-tax on the exchange. So that's also could save them a few dollars. You know, and another added point is, you know, everybody, I would say almost everybody lives paycheck to paycheck. When you get money deducted from your paycheck, it's much easier to pay for that item than have to write a check every month to the exchange or to somewhere else because they're going to have to scrounge up that money looking for it. So when it comes off your paycheck and you know what's coming off, and that's what's nice when you guys sit with them and say, hey, you make $1,638 a paycheck, and all of a sudden you see you know, a deduction of $1,300. There's no surprises there.
Hi, this is Dana. I did also check on that, and if they have a plan offered by their employer, the spouse and children are not eligible for the subsidy through the government. And the thing that I found that might help is that when I educated the employees about the fact that they're not eligible for the subsidy if their employer is providing a compliant plan, and I've even encouraged them to call, you know, the marketplace and confirm it. They always call back and say, you know, I need to get the plan because now my rate's going up $400 or something like that. So if that helps, that helps.
Okay.
And if you look at the cost that Children's Dental is offering, I mean, they're not prohibited. I mean, covering a family for $785 a month, that's actually pretty good. You know, covering two, you know, and
yeah,
they can do that whether it's, yeah. Oh, I see a little typo here, Carrie. In this plan, it missed a dollar.
Oh, it's probably an older version. Yeah.
Yeah, down in the Kaiser plan.
It's exactly the same as above. Go roll up for a minute.
Yeah.
Go up for, yeah, it's $465. Yeah. So yeah, it's that exact amount.
Right. So it'll be the same. So you know, so you can offer that as well. And let's go to the coverages real quick here. If Carrie, if you want to share about each of these plans, these are much better deductibles and copays than they're going to get on the exchange as well.
Right.
Can you go over the 3 Anthem plans here, Carrie?
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at it quickly. I just want to see if I should pull up the full. You know what, I'm just going to pull up the full benefits on my side in case there's something important not listed here. This is just a quick overview of the plans, but I want to pull up the main.
You want me to pull it up? I can pull it up too if you want me to.
Let me just look what I
Or
have.
do you want to, or should we just, or if you just have the guide open and you can use it?
I'm gonna just, I'll put it to the right of my screen here. Which one is this, Kaiser? I mean, if you have it over there, it would be. Let's see what we got here. SBC. Okay, this is all Kaiser. We're starting with Blue Cross.
Oh, here I can scroll down to Kaiser since you have Kaiser first. So here's the 2 Kaiser plans.
Okay, so. Okay, the first Kaiser is a 3,000 and the 6,000. Okay, I happen to open up the traditional one first, so the one to the right. So if you could just put your thing over there.
Over here.
Again, the 2 plans with Kaiser and Anthem work extremely similar. These are very, very rich plans. And what makes them so rich is there's no deductible on the plan and there's no co-insurance on the plan. So you go to the doctor and it's $20. Doesn't matter if it's the primary care or the specialist. And again, I'm sure most of you or all of you are familiar with Kaiser. You're going to a Kaiser facility. They're all over the place. They're state of the art. They've updated their technology. They're pretty amazing. And you know, if anyone's interested in taking a tour through any of the Kaiser locations, whether it's down south or you know, Irvine, wherever you want to go, let me know. And, you know, I have reps that are more than happy to walk people through it so they can really see what goes on behind the scenes at Kaiser. So that plan is, you know, $20 to go to the doctor, and it's $250 if you're admitted in the hospital. The number that you see above with $1,500 and $3,000, where it says out-of-pocket max, all that means is if all your copays equal to that $1,500 for a single, you no longer pay any further copays. So this plan is extremely rich. I mean, it's simple to explain to them. Obviously, there's no out-of-network coverage. There's, you know, this is Kaiser. You go to the Kaiser facility. You want to go get blood work, you go downstairs. You want the MRI, you go upstairs. It's all in one location. You know, the coverage is pretty extensive over here, and they'll be receiving like the full benefit description. But, you know, what you see is what you get. The emergency room at $50, that's, honestly, that's like old school. It should be $300 as the typical visit these days. You know, because the difference why Kaiser could handle a $50 copay is because it's their doctors are not getting paid for the procedure. They're salaried employees. So that's how Kaiser is able to maintain their rates, able to control their costs. That's how maybe they call themselves not-for-profit, but they're a profitable industry because they understand what the cost, you know, if there's a preemie, God forbid, or there's someone admitted in the hospital, they have fixed costs involved, as opposed to going to Cedars-Sinai, you know, those costs could go through the roof. What's the drug? Can you scroll down a little, Andrea? I want to see what the drugs are on that plan.
Sure.
1535. 35. Let me double check that's accurate. I'm looking at the main thing. We have 15 is the prescriptions for a 30-day order. $35 is prescriptions for the preferred brand drugs, and yeah, it's also $35 for specialty drugs, so that's accurate. So that's also extremely rich drug card. So this plan, you know, to purchase this plan, and I think we said it was $216 a month for the employee, to have a plan like this is really, really a good plan. And the plan to the left, I'm just going to pull it up on my screen also.
This is the cheaper plan. That's $21 a month for the employee to get.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this plan is a little more complex. And what makes it complex is there is a deductible and there is co-insurance. So if the person is pretty confident that they're not going to be admitted to the hospital, and no one has a crystal ball and no one could tell what the future is going to bring. But I always tell my clients, you don't have to answer. I always say, you don't have to tell me out loud, but really, how many times were you admitted to the hospital overnight in the last 10 years or 5 years? And most of them haven't been. If it's a female, maybe they had a baby if they're, 30, 40 years old or whatever it is. But, most people haven't. Though, of course, the one who has been there 10 times. But the average person is really not admitted to the hospital overnight. They might have gone to the ER. They might have been very sick. But as far as sleeping there overnight, this plan is a $40 copay to go to the doctor and the specialist. So everything that happens inside the normal doctor's visit is $40. However, if they're admitted to the hospital, the plan does have a deductible, and the deductible is $3,000. So the person would be responsible for the first $3,000, and then you're splitting the cost after $3,000 with 70 and 30%. The insurance company will pay 70%. They're responsible for 30%. So if they have an expensive hospital stay, ultimately this plan could cost them $6,000. So it is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And I'm not sure if Kaiser has it, but they probably do. A lot of them have like a financial aid department, and it's good to mention this to them. If someone is ever hit with like a $6,000 deductible and out-of-pocket max right off the bat, they should go to the financial aid department if they're really a lower to middle income family and speak to them. I could tell you Cedars, a lot of the St. Joseph's, a lot of the hospitals have different departments, and they're willing to work with the deductible, not just make a payment plan. All the hospitals work out for payment plans, but you could actually get a real rate reduction in the cost. So again, doctor's visits are $40. Everything else is subject to the deductible and co-insurance. I'm just checking a couple things here on the main screen that I have. No charge. 20% co-insurance. Yeah. So I mean, that's basically the plan. The drug card, let me double check that's accurate too. Yep, 10/30/30 on the drug card. So it's actually a better drug card. And of course, on the main thing, there's urgent care, there's emergency room. In this case, the emergency room is 30%. The urgent care is not on here. If there's an urgent care, it's $40. So you always want to steer people away from going to the emergency room, because the average emergency room visit's about $1,800, where average urgent care is probably like $300 or $400. So definitely steer people towards urgent care centers. Or emergency room, obviously, if your heart hurts or there's something probably just like a heart, go to the hospital. Have 3 stitches in your finger, go to the urgent care. It's the weekend and the urgent care is open and you have 103 fever, you don't need to run to the hospital. They're not admitting you that quickly. And if it's bad enough, the urgent care will then send you to the emergency room or to the hospital. Especially at Kaiser, it's all pretty much in the same location anyways. So,
question.
That's true.
Yeah.
Question. So the deductible is part of the maximum out of pocket?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question.
Okay. Now we'll go up to the Anthem Blue Cross plans.
The Anthem, again, it's going to work the same. And if you look at, we'll start with the richer one, the one that says admit HMO, the classic HMO plan. Same thing. When you see that annual out-of-pocket max, it's okay.
Sorry.
When you see the annual out-of-pocket max there of $2,000, $4,000, it's not a scary number at all, because the plan doesn't have a deductible and co-insurance. So in general, it's good for you to know this. Whenever you look at a plan, if that number was 5,000 and 10,000, the one that says 2 and 4, we don't really care, so long as there's no deductible and co-insurance, because all that number means is if I hit my copays of $250 and $15 and $30 and they add up to $2,000, I don't pay any more copays. But keep in mind, if someone hits that $2,000, they're sick. They're going to be pretty sick. If you got to go to the doctor, what is it? 70 times, 50 to 70 times in a year to hit that $2,000 number. Now, again, the prescription drug goes towards it. If you're admitted into the hospital, it goes towards it. But most people do not hit that 2,000, 4,000 number, where on the plan to the left, it's very easy to hit that number because you have a deductible and you have coinsurance. So again, just going back to the classic HMO, the plan is a $15 copay to go to the doctor. It's a $30 to go to the specialist. This is not Kaiser. There is no out-of-network on this plan either. You have to go to an Anthem participating doctor, and I think, Angie, I don't know if we gave you a link, but it might be in one of the emails, a link to search for doctors, specifically for the classic HMO network. There's a lot of different networks Anthem offers. This is a pretty robust network. So we'll send you a link of if a person needs to check up their doctor. The nice part for the enrollers, for you guys, again, this is not new coverage for 130 people. 130 people already have placed coverage. The question is if we get more participation, and so those people, you'll find out right off the bat, or you'll know off the bat if they're on Kaiser or Anthem. And I don't think you'll get too many people switching back and forth. You might get a few, or a few people adding spouses or children or removing them. So let me look. What else on this plan? What's the drug card on this, Andrea, if you scroll down?
It's similar.
Yeah, 10 for generic, 30 for brand, 50 for non-formulary, the more expensive drugs. If you come across a case that someone's on like a lot of different medications, if they want to give you a list and you shoot it over to me, I could send it right to Anthem and get it, what tier levels those drugs would fall in, or if there's a better option for them. It's good to also tell the consumer on the Anthem plans, Kaiser is different a little bit, but if they're going to Wayne Reed or CVS, or Costco or Target, sometimes the generics are cheaper than $10. So it doesn't hurt to ask if, what's the cost of insurance, and if it's $3.50, there's no reason to pay a $10 copay on these plans. The left plan is the deductible plan, going back to again, they don't mirror the Kaiser plan. Works the same way. It's $30 to go to primary care, $45 to go to a specialist. But there's a deductible of $2,000 per member on the plan, with an out-of-pocket max of $3,500 per single, $7,000 per family. So if they're admitted to the hospital, they're spending $2,000 plus 20%. The Kaiser plan was 70-30. This plan is 80, meaning the insurance company is paying 80%. You're paying 20% for a total out-of-pocket of $3,500. So $2,000, you have an additional $1,500, you hit the $3,500, and you're finished with your copays. Also, the prescription plan here, and I want to look at this online, on this plan has a deductible of $250. That $250 deductible most likely does not apply to generic. I'm going to look it up right now on Anthem's plan, so I could check to see if that applies to that.
Usually it's a brand deductible.
Yeah, usually it never applies to. I have it open right now. 2,000 per member. We got 30, 45. Urgent care on this plan, by the way, is $30 copay. They really want to steer people to the urgent care centers because the reimbursement is much less. $15 retail prescription. Member pays the retail pharmacy copay. Let's see, covers up to 30 days, 90 days supply. That's if you go double. It's interesting. It doesn't say that it does not apply to the generic drug. Usually it does not apply to the generic drug, to tier 1. So that's something I'm going to have to get back to you guys too. So right now you could assume it's a $250 deductible. If you don't hear from me, it's a $250 deductible that you're responsible for before your drug, any RX is paid at a copay level.
And sometimes, depending on the drug, that can be taken care of. My husband has to take Agranox, and that's an expensive drug. That would be gone in one month.
Yeah. And again, that would be a good case to go to Target, and sometimes they have their own drug programs for $5 a month. That might make sense. You know, so that's something to look at also. I think that's pretty much it on those plans. And then the plan to the right, let's discuss the PPO. And again, right away you could tell them it's $685 a month. They're going to say, don't waste your time. So don't waste your time discussing this premier PPO plan. It's a rich plan. It's mainly for people that are not going to doctors that are participating in the plan. In network, it's a relatively rich plan with a $20 copay. It's got a $500 deductible for anything above and beyond the doctor's visit. It also has co-insurance of 80/20 with a max out-of-pocket of $3,500. That's in network. And then out of network, you know, the benefits are listed right there. It's $1,500 deductible. It's two separate deductibles, the in-network and out-of-network. They do not cross-apply. And then there's co-insurance. You're really not going to have to discuss this with pretty much anybody. And if someone has a severe case of something or a unique case that they go to many doctors, you could tell them we have a specialist on call. You don't have to tell them who I am. It might be someone else in his office. And they should discuss to help you make a decision of what's the best plan to choose from. And then they could speak to someone in my plan. So if someone has a unique situation and they're not on the plan and they don't know how benefits really work and there's too much information there, take their name and number and we'll call them.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on any of the Anthem plans or Kaiser plans before we move to dental?
Is there chiropractic?
There probably is. Let me look at the details on this right now. I'm going to look at the core plan. I'm going to close what I was looking at and look at the core plan.
Now, as benefit counselors, do you get a lot of people asking about chiropractic?
All the time.
Here's your answer. Okay. We got chiropractic service. This, I'm looking at the Anthem right now. It says coverage for in-network providers limited to 60-day limit per benefit period of physical, occupational, and speech therapy. Combined chiropractic visits counts towards your physical and occupational therapy. So basically, this has a $15 copay for 60 visits of all different types of those therapies I just mentioned. That's physical, occupational, and speech, and chiropractic.
That is really good. Can you put that on the guide?
Yeah, I could also send you. We should email them, Andrea, these benefits, because it's like the full benefits. And this way, if someone asks a question, you could just pop it up and look at the same way you just asked me. I didn't know the answer. I just looked it up.
And they do have it, because I sent them the zip file here, the SBC English zip.
That's exactly what I'm looking. That's exactly what I'm looking at. So let's just pull it up for a minute so we could just walk through one together so we all know how to read it. Go to the Select Classic HMO.
Okay.
It's the same thing I'm looking at. No, not that.
Oh, it's opening. It just takes my computer is slow.
that's not what I'm looking at. These are the SBCs. I have something easier to look at.
Oh, you want the summary itself. Okay.
The summary of benefits. Yeah. Your summary of benefits, because that's much easier to read than the SBCs. The SBCs are just legal jargon.
All right, so we'll go down. Let me scroll down. Which one is the? Oh wait, I know where it is. Never mind, it's under the summary.
Yeah, sorry, that's where it is, under the summary.
Yeah, the summary.
And then it's
so we want the classic. Okay.
Right. So here's not a cheat sheet because it's 3 pages or 4 pages, but you can scroll down a little, please.
Okay.
All the way, like I'm saying more. So here's just to show you the answer I just looked at. If someone asks about prenatal, you have your answers here. Here's what I just read to you: chiropractic coverage, services. So you ask a question. Here's your question. They have acupuncture in there too, and it talks about what's combined. You know, so if someone has allergy testing or they're asking about different therapies or different questions, this would be your best bet instead of going to the SBC is to look at this benefit. You know, they might say, hey, is there a lab charge? And it's not on our little thing. Here, no charge, no charge. X-rays, no charge. MRIs. Is there no charge on that? Let's see. Here, $100 copay for MRIs. And cost may vary based on sites.
Yeah. Okay, so
You
your
know,
summary,
so-
but this is longer than our brief little that we put in the guide, but it does have.
This should have the answer to every question, almost every question that someone has. And yeah, here's more detail on therapies, and cardiac rehab. I mean, it has everything here.
Yeah, so you all have all the summaries as well.
Hi, guys. This
Here.
is Monica. I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Will we have access to what current benefits the employees are enrolled in case they forget which plan that they have?
Benetrac's real good about having that information. So it should be in the Benetrac system what their current plan is, and then when you're opening up, you know, logging in with the employee, it'll probably show what they're on, and then same thing that we do when we do it in Harmony. You just ask, do they want to continue the same plan, or do they want to switch to a different plan? Any other questions? Does anybody have any other questions, or are we ready to move on to dental? Okay. If there's no more questions about medical, we'll move to dental. And dental is also through Anthem. It's the same plans as last year. They have the HMO dental plan and the PPO dental plan. Carrie, you want to go over them real quick?
Yeah, I'm also just pulling up the larger summaries on it. I find it.
There you go. Here's the dental net. You want to do the HMO one first, the dental net?
I guess so. We could do that one. Where did I put mine?
If you want the PPO, I can go over to that one, whatever you want.
Yeah,
to
that's
do.
fine. I mean, I want to just look first at, we can look at that. Where's our cheap? Let me look at our what we're showing first, and then I'll look at that for the dental HMO, because I don't know how much it says. Is this it? Okay, so let's see. We have no deductible. Preventative services are at 0, and then this is where it says for basic and major services, everything else will be subject to a copay or some type of cost, and then we'll have to refer back to the other sheet. So, for example, this shows diagnostic services, and to the right 0. That's what they would pay is 0 for those type of coverages.
Here's where you get down to.
Yeah. So if
crowns,
someone says,
whatever.
what's the average crown, or root canal, or we don't need to go through all the details. It's pretty self-explanatory.
They're all here. Cavities.
Typically, it's not uncommon for dentists to try to balance bill and create some type of other thing. So anyone who participates in this type of plan, they just want to make sure they know what their cost is going to be, even if they're it says $140, because sometimes the dentists kind of use DMO plans as a bait to get them into the office, and then they're like, sorry, your plan really doesn't cover enough, and we don't really take it, but we'll take what they give us. So it kind of like becomes a game. But it's great for preventative and basic services. What else is there? If you go to one of their providers, if that's really the case, the $18.95 and $16.95 copay for ortho, that's amazing. If that's accurate, let me just double check. It's on that schedule. Ortho, yep, it's there. It's the last page of the ortho services.
There it is.
Right on the bottom here, and it shows the $18.95, $16. There's various treatments of copays.
Right.
You know, but of course, if you look at those two asterisks and right below it, it says 24 months of standard ortho care, exclusive of records and retention fees. So they'll always figure out a way how to charge for more. And interesting enough, they don't offer children's dental to their employees because children's dental is really pediatrics, the company. There's one office that does adult teeth, but really the company as a whole is really just pediatrics. So we could go back to, let's look at the other benefit. This benefit, you got it in-network and out-of-network. You have a $50 deductible per person, a max of $150 per family, so it would be 50, 50, and 50 if you're a family of 3. Preventative is covered. And then the basic service and major service, the plan will cover 80%. See, this is interesting. This could be a little confusing because we follow the same format, writing 20%, but 20. Yeah. Oh, actually, that's correct. 20% is what the employee would be responsible for, and on major services, 15%. And the plan will cover up to $1,500 per member of your family per year. So. And then,
now, can you explain real quick, because you can see it's the same here, the 20% for in there or 20% of out of network, and it has to do with how they do the fees.
Right. Basically, if they're contracted dentist with Anthem, they've agreed and have negotiated a contracted rate, which is more than typically is always less than the out of network rate. So they might have agreed to $400 on a procedure, and they'll get 20% of, you'll be responsible for 20% of that $400. And out of network, that same $400 might be $700. And when it says 20%, they're not paying 20% of $700. They're going to take the customary rate in that area, and you'd be responsible for. They'll pay 80%. You're responsible for 20% and the balance bill. So they'll always charge you an additional amount based on, what the doctor charges. The nice thing about the PPO plan is you can go to any dentist, and a lot of times when you have certain work done, the DMO dentist is getting paid a flat per capita fee and a smaller copay. They don't always give you the time of the day properly, and the other one does. So you have that flexibility of going wherever you want.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on the dental plans? Up front door. Okay, then there's one vision plan. Oh, okay.
Hang on. I was on mute. So the 1,500, does it have a rollover?
Good question. I don't know. Let me open that thing again and see if it's on there. I don't think it does. Let me just look if it says it here. Funding. I'm gonna answer you no, and you'll only hear from me if I'm wrong. So no, it does not have a rollover.
Thank you.
I don't see it written there, and generally, if it's not written, it's
right. That's what I was scrolling through.
Yeah. All right. I'm closing up the dental ones, and then we have the vision plan. It's the Anthem Vision Plan.
Yeah.
It's basically a standard vision plan.
Yeah, standard vision plan, in and out of network again, limitations of how much they're going to cover. In network, you go to a local in-network provider, you can look it up. It's pretty, $25 copay for the exam. They'll give you for eyeglasses every 24 months up to $130 towards your glasses, and then 20% off the remaining balance. For the actual single vision and bifocal, like it says there is no copay involved in that. Once you start getting into certain coatings and tints and standards, there's a whole list of copays. $15, $40. I don't think it's on there. It's on the main.
What's on the other one?
I'm looking at that summary thing again. That one, yeah. And again, everyone should have these in your computer, so if you can look up something you can't.
Right, my computer's taking a while to open it, but yeah, I forwarded to all of them, so they all have all these summaries as well. So, you know, keep your little children's dental file of summaries available, and then you can just open it up if you need it.
Yeah.
So here we go. Here's all the different, you know, when if it's going to cost them $15 if they want a UV coating, it's, you know, if they want transition lenses that are going to cost more, you know, so, you know, your standard plastic single lenses are what they have as,
and they have
$0.
a pretty high participation on this plan.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but you know, if someone really wears glasses and they use it, it's great. If they don't have glasses and they just need their eyes checked once a year, it's a waste.
Yeah. Right. And
I think that's it.
okay, so you have, yeah, so you all have this summary as well, and we will go back now to, where did it go? There it is. Alrighty, and then the next page, they're putting in place the FSAs.
Right, so we're still so we're still in the process of putting this in place. That hopefully will be done in the next day or two. So all I could tell you is very basic on this plan, which is different than other plans. Typically, you know, you're allowed to put $2,500 in a medical FSA. We're only permitting up to $1,000 annually. So the employer has a right to make a decision of what they want to do. So the employee, and my gut is you won't get high participation from the majority of the employees. The purpose of an FSA is to put away pre-tax dollars into an account to help offset your co-pays and your medical, your RX. Anything to the right of what we're looking at are eligible deductions that you're allowed to use your FSA dollars for, as far as the medical dollars. The healthcare FSA, they make a one-time election, and that election would last, is for the whole year. And even though come October 2nd, if they elected to put in $1,000, even though we haven't deducted $1,000 yet, the $1,000 is available to them day one. You know, and the deductions will take place on a biweekly basis, or however the employer decides to do it. That's the medical, right? That's for medical only. For dependent care, what are we doing here? We're doing 5,000 FSA. And to the right, if you go, Andrea, if you could just go up a drop, also on that list, it shows you what is an eligible dependent care FSA. You know, after school care, babysitting, elder care, extended day care, nursery school, preschool, sick child center, summer day camp. Those are the amounts, and the money is. And Mike, maybe you could talk more about the dependent care. I'm not 100% familiar with all the details on it, of how it works.
Well, dependent care is basically for anything, any kind of daycare for a child that allows the employee to go to work. So in other words, the spirit of this plan that the government gave us, not so, you know, John can go fishing and so Mary can go to the mall, although I don't know how the government would actually know what they did, but the idea is that so before and after school care, even summer camps, they don't cover registration fees, but daycare, if you're putting kids in summer camps, then you go off to work, those expenses can also be covered. It is for also for adult daycare. So if an employee is in the sandwich society, which is you've got kids at home and you've got a parent at home because they need care, if that adult requires 8 hours a day of observation and care from a babysitter, those expenses can also be written off through the dependent care FSA. Now, the healthcare spending account gives the employee immediate access on day one to the full amount that they will have set aside by the end of the year. The only plan out of all of the buckets that are covered by flexible spending account laws that has that feature. Dependent care, transportation, non-employer sponsored premiums are like a savings account. You can only take out or spend the money that you have deposited into your account. So if Mary is only got $22 in her dependent care account because she used the money to pay bills on dependent care, if she's got an $80 bill, she's only got 22 bucks in her FSA she can use. She's going to have to come up with the other 58 in cash to pay that particular bill. So let me stop there for a second because I like to make sure that that's understood by everyone. So you know, understand the difference between the medical and the other types, dependent care, et cetera. We'll take silence as a yes. And so it's for kids up to age 13. Above 13, the IRS doesn't consider them eligible dependents for daycare. But if that child is mentally or physically handicapped and requires daycare so the employee can go to work, then they're eligible. So you can see the spirit of the guideline. It's pretty common sense. You don't have to memorize it, but once you understand that it's, you know, up to age 13 for, you know, kids that don't have mental or physical infirmity and or deformities, and adults if they have to have daycare so the
Okay.
Carrie?
So that anybody else have any questions on FSAs before we move on?
I have a question on the FSA. Does any of that roll over into the next year? Like I had an enrollment where the FSA, they gave them 3 months to use it or lose it after the year was over, or is it just 12 months and it's done?
So, Carrie, do you know if they're going to elect a $500 rollover? And,
I think that's what we're, it's in this book already, right?
We'll
probably do a $500. Yeah, we'll allow a $500 rollover for the first, what is it, 3 months, I believe. You have to use it within 3 months of the expiration.
Yes. And that means there's no grace period whenever there's a rollover. Okay. So let me talk about a grace period versus rollover. So prior to the rollover becoming available to employees, the IRS introduced it 3 years ago. Prior to that, there used to be a feature called, well, there still is a feature called a grace period. And a grace period allows employees to spend, so here we are, we're in 2015 plan. So it allows employees to spend money from the prior year. In other words, they've just crossed over, they're starting a new plan year, and let's say Johnny's got $300 left in his FSA that he did not spend. Well, he doesn't want to leave that with the employer, which the IRS requires him to do unless he spends it. The grace period gave Johnny 45 days to spend the $300 from the prior year in his new plan year. A little confusing. If he doesn't spend that $300, that $300 remains with the employer, and there's things that the employer can and cannot do with that money. All has to relate to benefits related to FSA. When the rollover came about.
Hey, hang on, Mike.
One second, someone needs to mute
noise.
their phone there. Yeah, someone needs to mute their phone. It's getting hard to hear.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Please mute.
Yeah, no wood shop exercises while we're on the conference call unless you're muted.
Yeah.
So just email to Andrea.
When the grace period, when the rollover started, the IRS says the employer makes the decision on whether or not the rollover will be in place. They can roll over up to $500. That's the maximum, no more. But if they elect to allow the employee to roll over up to $500 from the last year over to their new year, there is no grace period. So it's a one-time rollover. Okay, so if anybody's had, and the reason I'm giving you more background is you may encounter people who have had an FSA in the past, and they're fairly educated about it, and they might ask you. And I'd like all of you to have all the answers. So, Carrie, you'll confirm that there's going to be a $500 rollover.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
No,
Okay.
yeah. I'll speak to you offline on that, Mike.
Okay, got it. And listen, if anybody else
Any
is
more
not
questions
clear
on FSAs?
Yeah, well, the only thing I wanted to say is offline, if you're not clear on FSAs or you want a little bit of review, I've got a nice PowerPoint that I will walk you through for educational purposes, and when you leave that, you'll have it. You know, it's all good. So please don't be embarrassed about saying, I'm not so sure I understand FSAs. Hey, it's our job to make sure that we educate you on all the things that we're planning to do. So it's just part of the job. So let us know if you need additional help.
Okay, if there's no more questions, we just have a couple additional benefits here, and then we got to go over the Colonial real quick, and we'll be winding up the call. The next benefit that they have through Carrie, through the broker, is a long-term disability plan. It's basic, disability plan. They have to be working 30 hours or more at 60% of their base salary, up to $6,000 a month, and there's a 180-day waiting period before it can be used. Is there anything else that you want to say about the plan? Is there a lot of people on this plan, Carrie?
I don't even know. I don't think there's a ton, no.
Okay. So they do have a long-term disability plan available.
And also, I sent you, a minute ago, I sent you like the full benefit descriptions on this too, so that's something they could add to their files. This way a person, if there's a question,
okay,
you can just look it up and they'll see the answers.
Okay. I'll get that out to everybody. Does anybody have any questions on the disability?
I do, Mike. So we have long-term disability. And I noticed the spelling on long-term disability. That's great. You don't see that very often on a big carrier stuff. So the short-term disability, did we put a 35% max on our short-term disability benefit, or I can't even remember if we're offering short-term disability. I think we are.
We are. We had it. I'll drop it down to the 35. We had it 40 for the dentist, but you can only offer a max of 20% to employees that weren't dentists.
Okay, cool. So we're cool on the 20,
to general staff
35.
employees. Yeah.
So, Carrie, dentists have this long-term disability benefit as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go down to 35 on our disability benefit to the dentist, because 35 plus the 5 that they would get, this is an integrated benefit, and that'll put them at the maximum that their employer would want them to have.
Yeah, we want people to go back to work. Okay, so that's the disability, and then they have a 25,000 basic life and coverage that's for employees to participate in medical coverage, and that's an employer-paid benefit. It's provided at no cost to the employee. I don't know. I don't think there's anything else that we need to say about it. Carrie, and then
I'm sorry.
have,
you said question. So you said that the 25,000. That they only get it if they elect the medical.
No, it's actually everybody. It's actually everybody gets it. All full-time employees. Oh, interesting. Okay. Medical coverage. Yeah, that's incorrect.
That's incorrect. Okay, so I'll change the guide. I was basing it off this when I said it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm sending notes to someone to correct it now.
Okay. So it's for all full-time employees?
Correct.
Okay, not just those on medical. Okay. And then they have a employer assistance program that's also through Mutual of Omaha. In it, cover. I'm not sure. Did she include the page on that in here anywhere? There it is. They have a employee assistance program that's available. Not many employees take advantage of this, but it does have a lot of availability. I mean, they can call them, they can ask questions, about legal, parenting, senior care, child care. They'll help them, pet care, visit a specialist. They have 3 face-to-face sessions with a behavioral counselor. So, EAP programs are good programs that many employees don't take advantage of. So, be sure to mention it to the employees what's available that's at no cost to them. Did you want to share anything about the EAP program?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I have one note on the EAP program. A lot of employees don't use it because they think if they call them about counseling or something like that, the information is going to get back to their employer, and it absolutely does not. That's the entire reason it's available, so the employee can get help without fear of some kind of reaction from their employer. If there's one thing I would pass along, it would be that.
Okay. Alrighty, then we'll go to our colonial plans real quick, and so I'll be so that we know which colonial plans we have in place. Those are the notes. I'll come back up to the notes. But first, can't remember the guide where I have it. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here's the plans that we're going to be offering. We're offering our accident plan, preferred or premier with the health screening, and off-job spouse disability riders available on the accident plan. The disability 1000, that's what we're going to correct. We're offering off-the-job disability. PEGI is available on this one. You have to meet participation, and PEGI only covers up to $4,000 a month. You're going to have to, it's going to be set at 35% now, not 40 for the doctors and the executives in the company, but most of the general staff keep it at 20% of their salary. So you'll have to look at their salary and calculate what a monthly amount would be. That's 20% of their salary, and don't go higher than that with the regular staff. We're offering, and then the other plans that we're going to be offering, we have group term life in place, and I'll go back up real quick. The group term life that is in place is, here we go. It's going to be in $1,000 increments from $10,000 to $500,000, capped at 5 times the salary for employees, and the guaranteed issue amount is $150,000. For the spouse, it'll be in $1,000 increments from $5,000 to a max of 100% of what the employee amount is, and the guaranteed issue for the spouse is $25,000. And the dependent children, it'll be in $1,000 increments to a max of $10,000, and the guaranteed issue is $10,000. This is a group term life plan, and remember, Benetrac doesn't support quote by plan code. So it just as an FYI, because every once in a while with the group term life, if you have an older employee, I think that's over 65, sometimes you have to use quote by plan code. And then we also have a whole life in place, so that they have one of the instead of term life, they'll have a whole life available as well. And we've been given guaranteed issue of $18 a week, up to $75,000, whatever that employee hits first. So that's in place as well. And let me scroll back down to, and then we also have group medical bridge. We're offering Plan 2, group medical bridge, and they'll have a $1,000 hospitalization or a $2,000 hospitalization, and the option 1 for the outpatient, which is $500 for tier 1 and $1,000 for tier 2, a max of $1,500 for the year, and along with health screening. I think everybody's familiar with all of these plans. Mike, did you want to say anything specific about any of the plans?
Yeah, I do. We're missing critical illness. Remember, we have worksite
solutions.
Oh,
that's right.
We got,
that's right. I have to add that. We added that afterwards, so I'll add the critical illness. So we are offering critical illness as well. So I'll put that back in there. Critical illness without cancer. Or no, do we have to put it with cancer? I can't remember what the worksite benefit was. I think we're doing it without the cancer because we didn't have any cancer plans that we're replacing.
Doing it without cancer, it's subsequent diagnosis and with
health screening. Yes. Alrighty. So because there are, I think I have this up in the, I had it up in the other part of the guide, and I forgot to touch on that. That there are, I think it was 15 employees that are on
correct
worksite solutions benefits, and so you need to talk with those. And so I put that up here somewhere. Well, so they have the worksite solutions. There's only 15 employees on it, and so any of them that you come across, any of those 15 employees, you'll have to talk with them and help them decide if they want to switch over to Colonial or if they're going to continue on their worksite benefits. I'll add that to the guide, and I thought I had put it in there, but.
And let me jump something in there real quick. So during my meeting with the group, I mean, we've got it's not a 50 live case with 15 policyholders, it's 375. They only had 15 policyholders. They've had worksite solutions for a long time, and because of the employees who are enrolled in those 15 policies have had it for a long time, I didn't feel like I didn't have any trouble saying, hey, look, go ahead and keep the payroll slot for them, so if those folks are paying those benefits on a pre-tax basis, they can keep it. They're long-term employees for the group. So we didn't want to create in the long-term employee who are influencers, if you think about that, we didn't want to create a negative right away by saying, no, you can't you can't pay for it through the group, because there's only a few folks. So the payroll slot is staying. It'll be our job to show the differences between our policy and what they have now. I've never seen us have any trouble beating out worksite solutions, so I'm not concerned about that. There's only one person who had critical illness. And Ken Lozano wanted us to offer it to everybody so we could have a menu to take care of the one person, etc. So there you go.
Hey, Mike.
All right.
This is Rod. Hey, Mike.
What?
Why not the cancer plan?
Well, why not add the cancer plan? We were trying to keep a smaller menu. So we've got disability, we've got critical illness, term life disability. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 plans. Plus.
Right, but why not the cancer with critical illness with cancer?
Oh, with critical. We can.
I mean, because more people. I think it would.
I don't have an issue with it.
Okay. Alrighty. Then I'll make. Oh, okay, I'll add that.
That's easy.
Okay, so those are the plans that we're offering through Colonial, and you all will be able to see what the employees have, so that you can remember they really want employees educated to show how these plans can dovetail and work alongside their medical, dental, vision plans, so that they can cover the gaps, where they have copays, where they have deductibles, where they're not covered. So that's what education is the key with this group. They really like education, and which is why they're making everything mandatory this year. They want all employees to be educated. We have our education you're going to do when you're hitting the plans on the exchange and tax penalty issues, and why it's a good idea that they have good medical plans in place here, along with why our plans would be beneficial to them as well. Does anybody have any questions? Mike or Carrie, do you have any last words?
Final words. We covered worksite solutions. No, the only thing I have nothing about product, but just one last encouragement that if anybody wants to review any of this material on the side, offline in order to boost your education. Again, I respect the people who hold their hand in the air and say, I want more so I can do better. I don't respect those who don't want to raise their hand because they think it makes them look bad. That's not a good decision. So, and by the way, I'm not inferring that somebody needs help. I'm just giving you a philosophy that I like to run by, and I always like to make sure that everybody knows there is praise and not criticism for asking for more educational material. Okay? That's all I've got.
And I will send to everybody. I do have Benetrack slides on the Benetrack platform, so I'm not sure if that's what Barbara was asking, but I know Clarice was asking earlier about Benetrack, so I will send the slides that I have on Benetrack. You can also go to Proper. If you go to Proper and do Harmony Connections and Benetrack, you can find slides there on Benetrack as well. So feel free to go to Proper and type in your search, Harmony Solutions Benetrack and or Harmony Connections Benetrack, and there are slides there. They keep some slides there on Benetrack, but I'll send what I have so everybody can see what the Benetrack screens look like. And remember, you do have today, Charlie, the Benetrack representative, said that test employee should be ready to go today. So you do have some days before the enrollment begins, so you should be able to become familiar with Benetrack and how Benetrack works. The one thing I think I forgot to say, I remember on Benetrack, the one thing that I've been told before, I don't enroll, so I don't always know all this stuff, but remember in Benetrack, I've been told you can't, in Harmony, you can go back to previous screens, you have our, back to your edit the employee screen if you, I forgot about my newborn, and you can go back and add the newborn. In Benetrack, when you are on the employee family screen or whatever it is, that's where you have to add all their dependents at right then and there, even if they don't cover them currently, because if they want to get an accident plan with family coverage, but they weren't covering their children on the medical plan because their children were covered elsewhere, you can't go back in Benetrack to add those family members. So that's the one thing you need to remember, that you need to enter everything when you're there, because you can't go back in Benetrack. So at least that's how it used to be. I'm sure Benetrack makes improvements over the years, but just in case, that was one piece of advice I was told to tell benefit counselors on Benetrack. Any of you that have worked Benetrack, is there any other tips that you have that you want to tell everybody right now? Because I know some of you worked on Benetrack before.
No, I don't have anything, but I do have a question. Through Harmony, we were able to print out a list of employees per location to help us determine who's been seen and who hasn't been seen. It's one of the great tools about Harmony. Are we going to get a list of employees so that we can check them off and make sure that we've seen as many as possible?
I will have
Good call,
ask
Rodney.
Ken. Yeah, I'll ask Ken if he can get me an employee list at each location, for each location, because we don't have access to that information in Harmony when it's a Benetrack plugin. So I will ask Ken for some, if he can give me employee, just at least just a list of names that's at each location, so that I can get to everybody. That was a good one. Anything else? Terry, did you have any other comments that you wanted to make?
No, I think we covered everything.
All right.
Oh,
well,
here you go. I've got one more. I just thought of this. Ken Lozano, and I don't know if it's Christine that's also, I can't think of her name, are trying to go out to all of the open enrollment meetings. So I would ask that when they come in, to introduce yourself and ask if there's anything that they want to know or whatever, just be the thrifty, courteous, kind folks that we are. So it's Ken Lozano is his name.
And many of you gave me dates that you have set up. If you can please send me the start times, because Ken would need to know the start times that you're going to be at each of the locations as well, because I will be getting that location list over to him as soon as I can. Yvonne, have you heard back from your 2 people yet? And Monica, I think you were waiting to hear back from 1 department manager. And Nicole, I think you were waiting to hear back from 1 manager as well.
Yeah, that's correct. I haven't heard. This is Monica. I haven't heard back from Leah yet. I
haven't heard back from Leah yet. Okay. Shoot me, Monica, Yvonne.
Did you hear back? The same for me. The same for me, Andrea.
Okay. Nicole, have you heard back from your last location?
Not yet. I have to check today because they were closed yesterday.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let Ken know the 1, 2, 3, 4 locations, or 4 locations that we're still need to hear back from, and he is great at nudging those managers to commit to a date and time. So I will give those locations out, and because he does want to have the complete schedule so he can plan his week or the next couple weeks for the enrollment.
Yeah, if you could send that to me also. This is Kerry with all the, not the ones that didn't respond, but once you have the schedules, because I'm probably going to pop into a few also.
Yes, I'll get that out to you as well, and to Mike, because Mike wants to pop in as well. So be prepared for Ken or Christina or Kerry or Mike to be popping in, checking on how the enrollment's going. Otherwise, thank you, everybody, for being on this call. We appreciate your time. I know time is critical, but we do appreciate your time. And I did record this, so I will be sending the recording out so that everybody has the recording. And I think there might have been a couple of call center benefit counselors that weren't able to be on it. And I don't know how much how many employees are going to end up at the call center, but I know that there's always a few that end up there. Thank you, everybody, for being able to be on this call.
All right, great. And thank you.
Everybody can head off to their day. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.